Yeah, we're counting.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. We are here. I got to tell you, this case, the Jamison case, this one is just, it's unbelievable. I have so many questions. I've read the books on this case. I've been following it. I just have so many questions, but I want to start by giving our viewers some background, okay? I mean, right? That's how we should start. You can hear me, correct?
Yes.
But there still is a delay.
No, you're fine. It's
wow.
It's my audio coming back to me.
Yeah, I'm seeing a delay on my end, too. Nothing but top-of-the-line equipment for here at the Ash Studios. Tonight, we have a tragic case, a family disappearance. Bobby, Sherilynn, 6-year-old Madyson Jamison. We're in Eufaula, Oklahoma, October 2009. Bobby had chronic back pain after a recent surgery. Sherilynn was struggling with depression. She was grieving over the loss of her sister. Finances were tight. The marriage was strained, right? The Jamisons, they wanted a new start, a fresh start. They found a remote 40-acre parcel of land on Panola Mountain. The idea was to move off-grid, simplify their life, and then escape the pressures that they were feeling in town. They visited the land before, they spoke with the owner, they researched the area in advance. So on October 8th, 2009, they loaded up their truck to go see the property again. The Jamisons, they left their home later that morning. Bobby, Sherilynn, Madyson, their dog Maisie, they drove south through Red Oak, then into the mountains, following GPS coordinates towards the parcel that they were going to buy. Around midday, they reached a remote area near Panola Mountain, and they turned onto a rugged logging road. That was the last time anyone ever saw them. Now, 8 days later, their white pickup truck was found abandoned on the side of a mountain road. Inside the truck, deputies found $32,000 in cash hidden under the driver's seat. Sherilynn's purse, both Bobby and Sherilynn's wallets, their IDs, their cell phones, a GPS unit with the coordinates of the location of the land they were going to buy still in it, Madyson's jacket, and their dog, alive but starving. No sign of a struggle, no footprints, nothing around the car, no blood, no broken glass, nothing indicating panic or violence. One more possible clue, a photograph taken of Madyson that very same afternoon. She's standing in a clearing looking upward. The background of that photo would later become extremely important. 4 years after they vanished, November 2013, hunters walking through a remote part of Panola Mountain, they stumble on skeletal remains. Police recover clothing, shoes, bone fragments. Dental records confirm it was Bobby, Sherilynn, and Madyson. But the mystery didn't end there. The remains were too decomposed to determine the cause of death. There's no signs of violence, no bullet wounds, no knife wounds, no broken bones that could explain what had happened, right? The Jamisons were found roughly 3 miles from where their truck was abandoned. The terrain was steep and heavily wooded. It's a difficult hike for anyone, especially a father with chronic back pain and a mother with health struggles, as well as a 6-year-old in tow. I'm John Genua, and you've been watching America's Strangest History. This is Ash Live, actually. This is the story of the Jamisons' family disappearance. It's a tragic, tragic story. Joining me again is police investigator Jimmy Molloy. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Thanks, John.
This is a tragic case. I'm just going to tell you, this is an absolutely tragic case.
I remember when we did an episode about this a while ago. And, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's terrible. Losing an entire family like that.
Yeah, I know. They found a remote parcel of land. I don't want to get into that yet, but just everything that you've seen from the setup here. We've got this remote parcel of land that's going on, right? They want to start a new life. Initially, after what I just mentioned, what are your first impressions?
Yeah, it's tough to nail something down immediately with such little evidence. But when you look at something like this from the above, without a determined cause of death or any signs of trauma, you initially have to start going down the path of they were trying to disappear. Maybe you have a situation where one of the family members is leading them astray, ultimately to their deaths. Maybe the parents were leading them out there, and they planned this the whole time. It's really hard to say, but initially it kind of looks like that to me.
Like what? Like it was planned out? That's your impression?
Like the parents were leading them out into the wilderness to
do something.
This end. Right.
It was their intention. Is what your gut's telling you in the beginning here.
But with the way as some of the evidence was laid out going forward, the truck being found kind of haphazardly, keys in the ignition, stuff still left in it, that does show signs of leaving in a hurry, some distress. But it doesn't really match up with anything else. No footprints, no signs of a struggle. So that's what you would expect to see at a scene like that.
Well, as usual with the cases that I pick for our topics, there are some twists and turns.
We're not discussing it because it's an easy case.
Exactly. I was going to say there's some twists and turns that may make our viewers and everyone else.
Gene asked a good question about how their finances are looking. That's always a good place to look to start.
Yes. So in fact, let's start talking about the people involved, and that's a great. Thank you, Gene Hackman. So we've got Bobby Jamison, Bobby Dale Jamison. Now, born 1976, he's an Oklahoma native. Okay, he's described as quiet. He's intelligent, introverted. He suffered a major back injury in 2005. It was a work accident. So he had significant chronic pain that he was living through. Okay, severe enough to limit his mobility. Okay, he was on disability. He was unable to sustain employment. He was on the pain medication, offered him no help. Now, yes, financial strain. Financial strain was considerable, and for some reason an emoji thing just popped up on my chat. It wants me to leave an emoji in the YouTube chat. I'll have to do that later. Okay. I don't know. Chronic pain after, chronic pain. What do you think?
With chronic pain after an accident, especially if your pain medication is not working, that is a telltale sign of some extracurricular drug use.
Well, I want to just tell you right there, the police came out and they said there was no evidence whatsoever of drug use. They found no evidence. None. Zip.
They found bodies 4 years later in the woods. What kind of drug evidence did they expect them to have?
Well, none in the house. None in the house. None in the. Remember, they found the bodies. It only took them 8 days to find. I'm sorry. They found the car, and 8 days later, there was nothing in the car. No paraphernalia. No indication of any of that. They searched the house. Nothing. Okay. So there's that, and they have no indication. So there's no indication. They've come out and said that there's no drugs are out of the question.
Well, that's something that they could locate. But
that's true. That is true, and I will point out the area is actually known as the meth corridor of Oklahoma.
Oh wait. Oh, everybody else can hear my echo too.
Well, that's great. That's really annoying. How about now? Is it better? Lower your gain. Lower your gain.
How's that?
It's fine with me. Let's ask. That's okay. We can hear you.
I still have an echo.
You still have an echo. Okay.
Yeah.
How about now?
Why? What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Nope. Still echoing.
I was just staring into space. I don't know what is going on here. Why does this?
Just keep talking. Let me see if I can fix it.
Yeah. Boy, that's annoying. You still hear the echo?
How about now? Yeah. Just keep talking.
Tell me if you hear it now. Do you hear?
It's not from your microphone. It's from mine.
Are you sure it's from mine? Yours, I mean.
It's every time I speak.
I assume that it's mine. I always assume it's me. So that's just the thing. So I have an idea. Here we go. An experiment, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, let's try.
Put yours on mute. Right? Put it on mute for a second. Mute your mic.
Hang on.
It's on your microphone. The button that says mute. Okay, good. He's muted. Do you guys hear it? I'm looking on the screen where the chat is. Can you guys hear it? Can you hear? Is there an echo as I'm speaking? This is great content. Has nothing to do with the case. Okay, I'm going to have to type it in the chat because I'm not getting a response. Is there echo? Yay or no? Oh, okay, so it is you. Okay, thank you. Okay, can you hear me, Jimmy? Okay, so I have an idea. So you can unmute when you wish to speak. How about that?
But then it's still going to echo when I speak.
Yeah, well, it's the best we can do right now. No, okay, they say it's a bad idea. Okay. Well, I guess you could sign. You want to try signing? You could try signing. Not with you. Okay. Well, that's really crazy. Why don't you check the settings of your computers to make you know the drill. This is not our first rodeo. That's sad to say.
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. Anyway, chronic back pain. So this guy's got chronic back pain. You might want to mute your mics. Oh, it doesn't matter, only when you're talking. Okay. He's got chronic back pain. I know exactly what you're saying. That's the first thing that popped into my mind. It screams drugs, right? If you mute when he is talking, the echo goes away. Oh, well. Okay. Did you hear that, Jimmy? I'm going to mute myself now. Actually, how do I do that? Right here. Heads up, Jimmy's recording will continue. Hey, thanks, Crikey. He said, did you hear what Crikey said? He said, if I mute when you're trying to talk, it might help. So I'm going to mute right now while you say something nice about me.
John sucks.
Did that work?
It did. I didn't hear an echo.
He
So
went
it is
away.
on your end.
I hate you all. How's that possible? Dang it. Wait, no, but they said they didn't hear it when... when
you mute.
Yeah, but they didn't hear it when you muted. Also,
Because I'm muted. Duh, you don't hear anything when I'm muting.
But when I was speaking...
Because it's something with the audio going to you and back.
You know what? I'm going to end this cast
45 damn
right
cameras
now.
out.
45 cameras. We gotta get back to this case. But the thing is, if this is, hold on a second. I'm gonna try something here. Just give me a second, okay? We have a problem here. You can mute while recording, but you can't switch mics. You can mute, but you can't. Okay, so wait.
Oh, that's a good idea. Crikey says you should mute when I talk.
I have an idea. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea. Okay. We'll see who really likes this show. They're hanging in through this. You know what I mean? This is crazy. How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You can actually hear me right now.
Yeah.
Is there an echo?
Yes.
They said yes. Crikey says yes, there's an echo. Or were they just saying yes, exclamation point, that it's working?
It's not. I can hear the echo too.
Fudge.
You're muted now.
Great. About that. Really happy about that. Okay. Is it really bad?
It's annoying, but
Damn it. Okay, so that means we're gonna have to. I'm trying to think what I can do. Can I do a quick mic? No, I can't. I'm not gonna be able to. Mute yours for a second. Yeah. Okay. So that means now you can hear me fine. There's no echo whatsoever, right? Okay. I mean, I don't know what you said. You could say yes or no to that question.
no, there's never been an echo when you speak.
Oh, okay. See, they said it's on your end. You've been saying it's on my end. You know what we should do? We should devote this show to the technical workings of a podcast.
I would dispute that is because I do the same thing every single time. And John, for all you people out there, John has 46 different setups that he uses for all this shit. I do the same thing every time with the same 3 pieces of equipment.
It's true, and I did, in fact, try a new setup this time.
Of course you did, because you're vain.
No, as I'm trying to get this thing... Oh, why can't I? So we got a problem here, huh? We got a major problem. Communications microphone. This is interesting. So they didn't tell us how to do this in the YouTube handbook for creators that doesn't exist. I don't know what to do.
Through.
Yeah, we can, but if I were listening, I'd be really pissed.
I know.
Man. I'd be like,
most of the
like,
world,
this
what you
is-
realize is that most of the world is nothing like you.
No, they're exactly like me. They're angry. They're angry now. They're angry. I want to know. You know what we'll do? This will be this. They'll hopefully they can clean this up in post production. Is what we'll do. We'll go through with it. Hopefully they can clean it up in post production. We'll release it as a video, and people will actually be able to hear it. We'll give them some work. How terrible on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being.
I said, don't worry. There's only 11 of us here.
Yeah, you're right, dude. You're right, dude. How bad on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being that you would like to slit your wrists.
I mean, it's annoying.
Really? That bad?
It's annoying when I'm trying to speak because as I'm in the middle of my sentence right now, I'm hearing myself talk on a delay.
Yeah, I hate that. Ooh, I hate that.
But I don't care.
But they say they are only hearing you. The problem's on your end, not me. They say they hear me fine. Pristine, actually, is what he said. Says I sound clearer than anything.
I can see the chat. Nobody said that.
Wow, he said 10, or they said 10.
Which means he's currently slitting his wrist, I guess.
Yeah, gosh. Now we just lost our one fan. All right, that's not good. He could be hate watching, though. I don't know.
That's possible. Yeah.
I do that. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? What do you think? I'm going to have to pivot this really quickly. You watch what I'm going to do. You ready? You're going to see something. You're going to see something crazy. Watch this. I'm going to create a new live stream like that. It's going to be like magic. Do I have audio processing on my end? I don't know what that means. I don't know. Do I have audio processing on my end? I don't know if I have any audio processing. Let's think. Can we get Crikey onto our post-production team? They'd be doing a better job than our guys right now. Jeez. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm playing with some settings right now.
I am going to end this cast, and then I'm going to start.
Wait. Do you have echo cancellation on?
Oh, let's check. Oh, did you like AI it? We're 20 minutes in. Did you AI it finally?
No, I'm in the settings of Riverside. And it says hearing an echo. Make sure anyone who isn't wearing headphones has echo cancellation on.
But I am wearing headphones.
I don't know. I'm just.
No, that was actually really good though. I got it. You got me excited. I was excited. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it possible that my audio is playing through something on your end that's then feeding back through your microphone?
That just blew my mind. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a very good
my
point.
sound coming back through your microphone.
That's not possible. That's not possible. That's not possible. How can your sound travel through? How can sound travel through a microphone? One's input, one is output.
No. You're not hearing me correctly. Like, is there some audio of me playing on your computer coming back through?
What were you saying?
Sorry. The entire chat is roasting us, by the way, because we're technical idiots.
The entire 9 people that are watching?
Well, yeah, that's true, I guess.
Oh man, we're not gonna. I get the feeling we're not.
One funny part about all of this is that in the 3 years we've been doing the show, this is the part that's gonna make us go viral.
No, that's not. So if I unmute, if I, like right now I'm fine, right? Now if you talk, if I press mute,
I'm talking, and there's no echo. Now there was an echo when you came back.
yeah, because I unmuted it.
Yeah, I get it. It's always John. You're still muted. You know
Oh, I
that.
forgot I was muted. Damn it. I thought I fixed it. Oh,
You
my
did.
God.
When you were muted, it was totally good. No echo. We're good. It's good now.
Okay, so why don't you...
Crikey is screaming feedback loop at us. He's been saying it the whole time, and he was right.
Yeah, he is right. And, you know, I don't really know what feedback loop is going to do, but there's no echo unless I... So that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And then we'll figure it out next time. So let's see. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I don't know, Bigfoot or something?
That was last week's. No,
No,
we're doing the Jamison
fam.
Yes,
You're muted.
I know I'm muted. I know I'm muted. We're having a hard time.
Oh, Kyle told us that him and his wife look forward to watching our shows every week.
Well, thank you very much, Kyle, and Kyle's wife. So why does he... Okay, he had a drug problem. I can't even believe it.
So initially, we were just discussing how you said there was no drug problem whatsoever. It was confirmed no drug problem, which I don't believe. Something about it doesn't sit well with me. That's the first place I would look if this were my investigation.
There's no drug problem. There's no drug problem. I misspoke. I meant to say he has no drug problem. Now I'm questioning myself, but I know he has no drug problem. Okay, no drug problem, none at all whatsoever. I know what we're all thinking. He's got chronic back pain. He's probably taking a lot of Vikes, a lot of Percocets, right? He's probably doing that. Doesn't mean he has a drug problem.
That's how every drug problem in this country begins.
The police investigated him. They searched his house. They didn't find any pipes. They didn't find any indications of drug abuse in any capacity.
Yeah, maybe he was really good at hiding it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I also love that we just keep muting on opposite.
Yeah, I know this is kind of... Actually, you know what I'm going to do from now on? I have the perfect solution for this. Over.
That's pretty good. Now it's just like we're on walkie-talkies. Over.
Yeah, that works. That's really cool. And you know what? This is actually very interesting. I could actually see that as a YouTube. Wow, this is the YouTuber that he does all his stuff like he's on a CB radio. That's what we're going to do from now on. Over.
There you go. Standing out from the crowd. I like it. Over.
Okay, so let's continue our discussion in this unusual fashion that we will continue. This will make it very interesting, actually. Very interesting.
I concur. Over.
Okay, so this will get really tough it's already tough. So let me talk a little bit about, I mentioned that she was very distraught over the loss of her sister, right? She actually, believe it or not, she was admitted to St. Anthony's Hospital for psychiatric treatment shortly before the disappearance. But it doesn't mean anything, okay? She just had, it was a very short-term hospitalization. She was just having problems, severe depression, emotional instability, intense grief for her sister. She was grieving. Over.
Yeah, it's clear that there was some emotional instability going on with his family. So I think that's an important rabbit hole to dive down if we're looking at motives and what might have caused this behavior. But a lot of this does specifically point to the fact that they're going out there for a specific reason. Unless they were just trying to get out there to escape all of this and it was an innocent thing and we still don't know what happened. But it has a calling card of they were going out there for a specific reason. Over.
Yeah. It's hard to keep. It's hard to keep a straight face when we're saying over.
Yeah, but you got to just Push through it. Over.
Well, before we move on, I want to just, because we're talking about the mental health, so I'm going to read. Actually, I have here. She basically, because the first thing on the side of her house, she has a shipping container. They had a shipping container because they were planning on actually using that. They're going to drag it out to the property and convert it into some kind of house, which I've actually seen. They have YouTube videos on it. Pretty cool. You can convert them into shipping houses. Really cool. And they were going to do that. She was concerned, not only over the loss of her sister, but because she felt that her neighbors were screwing with her cats. They actually, she was concerned that they were doing something to harm her cats. So she started writing, things on this, spray painting stuff on this container that kind of alarmed people. It was, whether it was a view of their manifestation of her way of just, expressing her feelings. But to be very perfectly honest with you, the neighbors were actually poisoning her cats, which is interesting. So her fears were actually well founded. However, spray painting the stuff on the side of the container really freaked people out. It would freak me out if somebody, I'm going to be honest, having a shipping container on your front yard would freak me out to begin with. But, she wrote about feeling, there was a spiritual battle, darkness, the feelings of being watched. I don't know. Part of me actually, now that I just say that, part of me just think, it sounds like almost, like delusional thinking. But I don't want to go down that road because just because she was hospitalized for depression shortly before they disappeared doesn't mean it has anything to do with the disappearance. I mean, she was grieving for her sister. That's a very serious thing. Over.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it has.
Actually, hold on. That's hard to get over. Over.
Good one. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean that it had anything to do with anything, but it's also a stone that can be turned over, and it's kind of convenient timing there. What kind of things was she writing on the storage container? Do we know that? Over?
Yeah, I was waiting for that. You have to say over. She was writing, do we know exactly what she wrote? No. Yeah, what doesn't, I don't remember actually. It was something like, it was something like, actually, no, I have something for you. Okay. I was trying to bring it to mind, but I realized I actually have the storage container right here. How great is that? I have it right here, my friend. This is it. Let's find the storage container. Here it is. Now, and this is the best picture you're ever going to see. Ready for this picture? How great is that picture? It's tiny, isn't it?
Oh wow.
It's tiny. Is it tiny? Can you see it?
I can't even see what that is.
I know. Hold on. I'm gonna try to make this a little bit bigger. Okay. I know. What are you laughing at? That's what she said. That kind of thing. There you go. You want to know what it says?
No.
That's what it says.
Clicking.
Hey, you didn't. Hey, did you hear me say over? Over.
Yeah, there you go. No, I'm laughing at the incessant clicking while it's getting like slightly bigger. Yeah, that looks like some incoherent rambling for sure. Yeah, hard to make out, but it looks like crazy talk if you ask me. Over.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't you have this on your front lawn? I saw it the other day.
Yeah.
It's identical to the one you have. Funny story, actually, it's a true story. I actually have two of those in Vermont, but right now, but we're doing construction, so it's necessary. But they are on the front lawn. She kept a journal. People concerned about her mental health. But once again, I don't think that necessarily means that she went out there and did something to everybody. I don't know. What do you think, Over?
I think that while you may be right, and there's certainly no evidence that happened, I think we're starting to see a pattern here that there are certain timelines that are fitting into this thing, and there's a recurring theme that you keep saying, but I don't think that means anything. And I think if you're saying that a ton of times in a row, it probably means there's something going on. Over.
So you think I'm covering for them? Over.
Yeah, you're involved in the conspiracy for sure. Over. You did it, baby.
Over?
Over and out.
Over and out. Okay, that's great. Well, in her entry, she wrote that she believed that, she and Bobby were being attacked spiritually. Over.
Okay, so we're clearly going down a pretty steep mental health road. And I think that picture is being painted pretty firmly. You can't tell me that you're going to dismiss that outright. Over.
Yeah. Well, I know people are going to say, why are you laughing during this video of the Jamisons? But I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance, everyone. It's just due to the nature of this very unusual way that we have to communicate, in this case. But we're going to try to soldier on because that's what we do, right? That's what we do here. Over.
Hoorah. That's right. Over.
Now, there's another monkey wrench in this because Sherilynn was afraid of Bobby's father. Bobby started a lawsuit against his father because there was some bad blood. He sold the gas station. Bobby did a lot of work there. He felt he had some sweat equity in connection with that property and that he deserved some of that money. There's a big problem there. They actually had to file a restraining order against Grandpa. What do you think of that, Over? Now you're starting to... What do you think of that, Over?
Okay, yeah, that's certainly a compelling avenue to go down. I would definitely have a conversation with that guy and at least confirm what his whereabouts were for those disappearance days. But something like that seems... Generally, if you have a crime like that, or if that's your suspect or that's your perpetrator, you're going to have a very personal and violent kind of crime or kind of attack. It's not going to be a clean, no signs of a struggle type of thing. Just in my opinion, it doesn't mean that it's not possible. But generally, if it's somebody that close with that kind of familial discrepancies between the two of them, it's going to be something pretty violent and pretty personal. Generally, Over.
Okay.
I would. That's what I would be looking to see. But absolutely somebody that you would want to talk to immediately. Over.
Yeah, I'd want to talk to that guy. He's got a restraining order after him. She writes that she's actually scared. She's scared that he has influence over them financially, legally, and she's concerned. She wrote that she's afraid of him. Madyson Jamison, 6 years old. Okay, she was lively, imaginative. She was cared for and loved. No evidence of any neglect or anything like that. Her belongings, I think it's important to note, her jacket was left in the truck. I think this is a clue. It's cold. I checked the weather reports in that area. It went down to the 40s. The upper 40s. That's pretty cold. To take your 6-year-old without a jacket. That seems a little bit strange to me. I don't know. Maybe somebody made them go. Maybe they had to leave for some other reason. I actually have some ideas that I want to get to. But here's the family. Are they planning to leave or self-harm? Are they going to leave the child's jacket in the car in cold weather? What do you think's going on with that? Over.
Well, the interesting part about the way the car was set up is it kind of tells us two things. It tells us that they either left in a hurry or maybe not exactly a hurry, but they left with some haste, or they left thinking that they were going to come back to the car. One of those two things has to be true. So how we put that together is kind of, maybe they got out of the car to take that photo, if we know that's the last known photograph. But it seems that they anticipated returning to the car. So maybe they thought, oh, we're just going to get out of the car for a minute, put our jackets on, whatever, just leave our stuff here. Leaving the keys in the ignition is a little weird to me, but that could just be a New York thing versus where they're from. Some people do that. But it seems to me they either were left in a hurry, which would indicate they were forced to, or they anticipated coming back to the vehicle. Over.
Yeah, I think it's weird. I had a problem with that. They find the keys left in the ignition. So they leave the day before they're caught on surveillance footage. They have cameras outside of their house, and they're moving stuff from the house into the car, presumably in preparation for their trip. The trip wasn't supposed to be that long. And it's weird. People have said, well, they look like they're zombies, and they might have been possessed. Now, my take on this is it's not that they were zombies or they're possessed or anything like that. It's more they are not talking to each other. They're having an argument. They're seriously not like in the best place, so they're probably pissed off at each other, and they're doing their thing, and they're just loading something. I'm going to show you that video. I actually have it saved here as a clip. Over.
Yeah, it's really choppy. It's hard to see any like it's hard to see the manner in which they're moving and the style in which they're moving, but they could have been under a severe amount of stress. They're packing their car to get the hell out of there, like you said. Maybe they were, whatever reasons they were leaving for, were clearly causing them to make such a large enough life decision or change in their lives that they were probably under a lot of emotional stress at that time, and who knows what else was going on inside the house. So, I mean, it's just video evidence that they planned the move, if you ask me. Marcus from the, I'm sorry, not Marcus, Mark S. from the chat is still thinks it's drugs. Drug buy gone bad. But again, it's a little clean, if you ask me, for something like that. But that to me looks like normal behavior for people who are planning to move. Over.
Well, let's keep in mind, they're not looking to move. They're looking to go visit a property that they're intending to buy. In fact, police did confirm. Right. They confirmed that they were looking to buy. They spoke to the owner. The owner says, I saw their car parked kind of outside of like on an old logging road in his general vicinity. He saw it parked there. He didn't really pay it any mind. He didn't care. He didn't go check on it at all after that, never after that. But he saw it, and it was found in that same general area. I have a problem with a couple things. They got $32,000 in cash in the car under the driver's seat. It's unclear whether that was a down payment on the house, why they had it with them. The owner says they weren't meeting him there to buy the house or anything like that. So, that's I don't know what the money was there for. Maybe they just didn't trust it in the banks. Maybe they were thinking of cutting and running. It's unusual. Mark's probably thinking that it could be drugs, but what the police said, no evidence of drugs. I'm just wanting to point that out. No evidence of drugs was involved with this. I have a problem with the $30,000 worth of cash. All their IDs, their phones, everything left in the vehicle. But here's where it gets interesting. Get this. In the afternoon on the day that they disappeared, they took a picture of Madyson. And so that means that they got out of the vehicle and they walked around at least at some point and took a picture, right? They took a picture. So and then after that, well, let me first show you that picture. Well, and after that, they were until you go ahead. I'm sorry. Over.
I just have a question. Do we have any indication when the bodies were found, what the positioning was of like where they were in reference to each other? Were they laid out together, like in a line? Were they kind of haphazardly strewn about? Over.
Yeah, we do. They were clustered. They say they were clustered together, and that leads us to, even though we're jumping ahead, that leads us to the ultimate conclusion that is the official conclusion is that they got disoriented and they died of exposure. And in cases like this, Families that are missing, or groups of people that are missing, they tend to stay together. They found the family, the remains, somewhat together. For the husband's up here in the mid, the wife, and then the child's over there. They were within, I think, like 100 feet of each other. A couple bones, just a couple of them scattered, from animal stuff. But other than that, they found them like that. So over.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious, as if it would point. I mean, you could have different layouts that would point to that there was someone else there if they were staged in a certain way, but also thinking of it now, years later, I mean, there's going to be so much disturbance by animals in the natural ecosystem that it's going to be hard to tell anything from that anyway. Over.
Yeah, you're right. That's another thing that they're facing. That's another issue they're facing. Time in the elements. This is the photo that they took. This is the photo they took over.
Hmm. So this is the last known photo of them, of the daughter, of any of them alive, I guess. So this could be where they departed from the vehicle then to get out and take this picture. Yeah, it's tough to say. Is this the area they were found in this photo? Do we know? Over.
Yes, actually, it's a very good point, and that's why this photo becomes important. Is because the bodies were actually found in the vicinity of this picture right here, in the background of that photo. She, do we get anything from the expression of her face? Does she look terrified? Does she look scared? She looks like she's leaning on an invisible wall, or is she just hugging herself? I can't tell. Over.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't look in any kind of distress or anything like that. She looks like a kid taking a picture to me. Um, that I mean, I've seen that forced smile 100 times on kids. My kids do the same thing. But yeah, I don't know. Looks like she's just being a kid to me. I don't get anything too indicative out of there. Over.
Yes, I see what they're saying. 2.7 miles. Yep, they were. That's exactly correct. 2.7 miles. But they were like in like a ravine. The hunters that found them said that they were in an area that nobody would ever go to and nobody could even really get to, which I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I'll do it anyway. If the authorities, yeah, if the authorities are going to go with, hey, they died of exposure, I'm wondering whether one of them may have gone out, fallen down the ravine, maybe Bobby because he's got back pain, and then they went down to try to help him and they got stuck down there. I don't know. Over.
You're supposed to mute when you're over.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's a pretty it's an interesting theory. I think them being found, 2 miles, 3 miles from the truck, in such a difficult terrain. I mean, do we know if they're experienced in the wilderness at all? I mean, I think it's very easy that they could have gotten out of their truck. Maybe they wanted to wander around a little bit, take a picture. Maybe they just couldn't find the way back to the truck. I mean, it's very possible they just got stuck out there. It's it takes a lot of knowing what you're doing to survive out there in dense forest and stuff like that. If you don't know what you're doing, it is very easy to get turned around out there and not come back. Over.
Yeah, but these people had been there before. They had been there before. They've been there a few times, a bunch of times. They were very interested in that, in moving to the meth corridor of Oklahoma. It's supposed to be very nice there, I hear. So they wanted the rural life. They wanted to live off, they wanted to live off grid and presumably meth free. Over.
Well, that's a pretty grand assumption, but
I'm just going by what the police said, and the police said there is no evidence of drugs. And I mean, I'm going to assume we're dealing with the meth corridor of Oklahoma. We're dealing with an area known for meth. I'm sure that they investigated that to the end. If they're saying there's no evidence of drugs, I mean, right? I'm gonna assume it. Over.
yeah, I mean, I'm giving you a hard time, but I would tend to agree with you that if there was some issue with drugs, there would have been some indication of that, whether it was paraphernalia at the house, even prescription bottles or anything, unless they knew that they were cleaning the whole place out and they cleaned all that up. But there would have been somebody even from town or somebody in their lives that would have been like, oh yeah, they had a pretty good drug problem. You probably, most likely, somebody would have come forward.
Over.
But you did have this crazy Gene pointed out in the chat too. They did report spirits and all of that stuff, so that also could be drug induced, if not mental illness. But I just find it. I have a hard time believing, like you keep saying, that they lived in the location that they lived and there was no drug use going on whatsoever. Over.
Believe it or not, some people don't do drugs. It's possible that they just wanted to, live out. My goodness, I want to get out of the city. I want to live in the woods. Doesn't mean I want to open up a meth lab. I mean, I'm just saying, because and presumably they spoke to the owner a bunch of times. There's no indication that they asked for permission per se to go this time, which I find actually very interesting. Maybe it's just a thing in Oklahoma and out west where, okay, well, I know you're looking at the property. You're free to go out there as long as, as often as you like until you decide whether or not you want to buy it. I can't see that as an owner here. I would never say that because anytime you enter my property, I'm liable. I need to know when you're on my property, what you're doing on the property in case you get injured. And I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, over. That's what I was saying before, is that a lot of these things we look at through New York lenses, and that this area of the country is very different. People leave their doors unlocked. People do stuff like that all the time. So I wouldn't think it very out of the box for the guy to say, all right, yeah, go check out, the property whenever you have some time and let me know. I think that would make sense to me for that area of the country. Gene actually also brings up another great point too. It's possible they got lost and turned around out there. Maybe they ate something they weren't supposed to eat, and there you go. Over.
Yeah, you got some problems, buddy. Maybe they say that on the radio. I didn't say over, sir. Could they have eaten something? I don't know. I find it very unusual. These people have been to this property before. This is not the first time they've been there. They've been there before. Now, I mean, they did. But here's the thing: they didn't pack anything. They didn't bring any overnight bags. They bought nothing. It was just like a day trip. They were going out there with 32 grand. Doesn't everybody travel around with 32 grand? I know. I always travel around with 32 grand in my back underneath my driver's seat. Apparently, that's what they had underneath the driver's seat. He could have taken it out, Here's an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. He's collecting disability. Maybe he took a job under the table, right? Could have taken a job under the table, so he's got cash. That cash he's saving up for a down payment. So he's able to get money under the table. He's collecting his disability. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just coming up with a potential reason why he might have all that money that doesn't have anything to do with drugs, right? Over.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons why he could have had the money. We're never going to be, all we're going to say about that is just going to be speculation. The problem with this whole thing is that there's no evidence of any kind of, that they can find of any kind of cause of death, which I think I'm starting to tend to believe leads to the fact that they got lost out there. If it was some kind of murder or conspiracy or drug deal or any of that stuff, I think you'd probably see evidence of blunt force trauma, bullet hole, something like that. You'd be able to see that right away in their remains. Yeah, over.
Yeah, you'd see, they can tell from the bones as well, whether there was a knife wounds, whether broken bones, whether it was blunt force trauma. I want to point out that there was some misinformation spreading around that there was they found like a bullet hole in the back of one of their heads. That's actually speculation. It was circulated on the internet. I looked into it. It's not true. Yes, Gene, we talked about that. There was involvement in the lawsuit over the gas station. He felt that he put a lot of sweat equity into it, and when his father went to sell it, he said, hey, I put in all this sweat equity. You will be unjustly enriched through the sale of this real estate. Therefore, I'm entitled to a portion of that equity. And that was the nature of his lawsuit. Good luck with that. I want to just point out, Between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m., this hour time frame, there was a flurry of activity, okay, coming from Bobby's phone, not Sherilynn's, and not the second device, because they actually found a flip device, a flip phone, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. That was in the house. So somebody had Bobby's phone, and they checked voicemail messages, and it looked like it pinged on several of the towers that were in the general vicinity. So that's an activity on the phone, and somebody was checking voicemail messages. So over?
Okay, so who are you proposing that could have been?
I say Bobby was probably checking his voicemail messages between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. Over?
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
Maybe because he was going to meet somebody, and he was looking for that person. Over?
Okay, so if that's the case, then we would be able to, without a doubt, pull cell phone records and run cell phone numbers of whoever he was contacting at that time. That would be an incredible lead to follow. Over.
Well, we have multiple calls were attempted. One voicemail was accessed. Some calls failed, probably due to the terrain signal. Okay. They were 2.7. They were 2.7 miles away from their car, and they're now, and they died from exposure. 2.7 miles. Is that what I said? Yeah, 2.7 miles, and they died from exposure. I'm sorry. Seriously? Over?
I don't know. First of all, somebody in the chat thinks that this is a comedy show, because I guess they just joined after the explanation of the audio issue. They're not up to speed on it. So sorry, Shoulder of Giants. You got to go back and watch the beginning of the video. You'll understand what's going on here. 2.7 miles in the middle of dense forest is a long way away. What are you doing, Over?
I'm hot because there's a really bright light behind me. So I'm really, really warm right now, even though the window's open. Yeah, I get it. 2.7 miles. The guy had a really bad back problem. What is he doing going hiking? What is he doing? Listen, I doubt he was going to meet somebody to give them the money for drugs. They left the keys. Well, hold on a second. They left the keys in the keyhole, in the ignition. The doors closed, and they left the dog inside. Here's a question: why'd they leave the dog inside? Over.
Because again, they probably anticipated that they were going to be returning to the car very shortly. No, it's okay, Shoulder of Giants. I just think it's funny that you came halfway through and missed that whole part. How this must look after missing that explanation is making me laugh. Because I'm telling you, I think they probably thought that they were, all right, let's jump out for it. Maybe somebody had to jump out. Maybe the dad had to walk into the woods to go to the bathroom or something. He was taking a pee. I don't know. They got out of the car with the intention of returning to the car. Then maybe one thing led to another. Oh, let's go check that up there. Oh, look at that clearing up there. Let's go take a picture. I don't know. And then all of a sudden you get turned around. I mean, are you always aware of where your north, south, east, and west is, especially when you're in the middle of the woods? I mean, I'm sure you are. And once you lose that bearing and you have nothing to base any of your direction off of, you're screwed. You're gone. You end up walking in one direction for too long. Now you've been going in the opposite way. Now you're miles away from where you were and you have no idea how to get back. I think that very easily happens. Look at the guy they just found. Was it California? He was lost in the woods for like 3 weeks. And they finally just found him. He had no idea where he was going. Over.
I got something better for you. I just saw on the news. Did you guys see this? Did you hear about this? The Slender Man girl, the one that murdered that teen for Slender Man, she broke out of they put her on some kind of like psychiatric, she's been hospitalized in a psychiatric hospital, right? They put her in some like halfway house. She broke out and she's a fugitive as we speak.
Are you serious?
Over.
Wow, I didn't hear about this at all. When did this happen?
This happened today. Over.
Oh boy, over. Yeah, I was off today, but
that's why it happened. Over.
Oh boy, yeah, I'm sure I'll get briefed on it tomorrow. Over, but no, I didn't hear about that at all. Over.
Isn't that crazy? Maybe we can get her on the show. If we get her on the show as a fugitive, I mean, that would be interesting, right? Over.
Well, then we would be aiding and abetting if we didn't help arrest her. So, over. I'm on.
No, that's not. No, we don't have any duty to help arrest her. I can interview her. Hi, I'm not a police officer. I don't have to arrest her. And that we learned that in law school. You don't have a duty to act. Over.
I have a duty to act. So number one, I have to act. But if we have any information regarding her location, or we are aiding and abetting her in any way, including giving her a platform, we can be charged with that crime. Over. And I have a duty to act. Over.
Let me ask you something, devil's advocate. What if it was Slender Man, and she's going out and she's going to prove that Slender Man is real, and she finds investigators. Here he is. This is him. This is the guy. Over.
All right. Well, maybe she's on a quest to prove her innocence. Then the movie's about that's going to be really good, and I look forward to seeing it. Over.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting, right? What would you do if you found her? Over.
It'd probably be pretty good for my career. Over. I'd arrest her.
And it would be good for society. Over.
Well, yeah, she's a convicted person that is out in the world, not where she's supposed to be. Over.
Yes, and the authorities said they believe she's dangerous due to the nature of her violent arrest. I think she stabbed a girl 18 times trying to appease Slender Man. This just happened. It's breaking news. So
why don't we do a show about that?
Okay, that's about everything I know about it right now. So, and we're done. That's all I know about it so far. I think it literally just happened. Yeah, that's a good point, Gene. I could interview her. I could say, hold on a second, I'm calling the police, but while we're waiting, I'd like to do an interview with you. That's always possible. I would love to I mean, I found that case interesting, from a psychological perspective. I'm a huge horror film buff, as I know you are as well, Jimmy. And we've seen the Slender Man movie, although it wasn't that great of a movie, I'm going to be honest with you. It was all right, but not that great. I don't know how we ended up talking.
It didn't make me want to go kill anybody, but...
True, it didn't. But then again, I wasn't really. That was like a video thing, right? The Slender Man. It was like a viral TikTok or something. What was it? Over.
I don't know. I thought it was about the movie that she said, but I have to dive a little deeper into the case. It's been a while since I read about it. Over.
No, I you know what? We can get into that. But
let's wrap this one up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I want to point out another thing. They say they found a flip phone. They found a flip phone. It was a third phone. They thought it was weird. There was a text message on Mom's phone that they know was deleted.
Okay.
They suspect something's amiss with that, because they also noticed that she was kind of like caring more about her body and being physically fit in the days leading up to the disappearance. I'm wondering whether or not it might have been a lover or something. Over.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know what it may have to do with this case, but if generally the way that I've always understood it, and any of the cases where I've needed cell phone stuff, as far as I know, nothing is really ever truly deleted. So they could probably find that text message in the metadata and all of that. Again, that's a little bit beyond my expertise. I let people more intelligent than me about technology figure that out when I have it in a case. But my understanding of it is nothing's ever really truly deleted. So they should be able to find that and recover it. Over. Damn it.
And they did find it, actually. They recovered the metadata. We don't have this information because, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually still an active case. So the police aren't like dishing out all the information. Yeah, we know X, Y, and Z. Anything else you want to know? You know, they have to be very guarded about what they can release so that they can still have a chance of, of finding resolution for this case. And I want to point out, actually, that they do believe, the sheriff's offices have come out and they said they do believe that, that the person responsible has already been interviewed. They believe that the person responsible, that they kind of hinted that they know who it is and they're just waiting. What are you smiling at? Are they saying something funny in the chat?
Yeah, because they keep
Over.
Shoulder Giants keeps reminding me to say, you got to say over, man. I keep forgetting over.
I'm very disappointed in you, over.
What was I gonna say? Something that you just said piqued something in my mind. I lost it. Over. Got to come back to it.
Okay. Well, listen, I think that.
You got it.
Go ahead, over.
So if they have a person of interest, what you're saying, do they? What is the official cause? What do they have this ruled as? They don't have it ruled as a homicide, do they?
No, death is undetermined is the official.
That makes sense.
Well, they say that families, they rarely separate voluntarily. They tend to stay very close to the last known point. And this is a very interesting statistic that I got. You guys will find this interesting. In 50% of the cases, when you've got a family group disappearance, you'll find those remains 50% of the time within a mile of where within a mile. Mm-hmm. Now, in 95% of those cases, it's within 3 miles. So we've got, as one of our viewers pointed out, we have a 2.7 miles. So they're in that group of what we expect to see in a family disappearance. Now, we know that they say steep terrain dramatically increases disorientation. Emotional fatigue, it affects decision making, right? And we know that she was very emotional. They were all probably emotional. They were going through a tumultuous time right now, right? People often walk downhill first and then uphill, and then they collapse from exhaustion, right? Now we have thick bodies, they hide the vegetation. But here's the thing, I want to point out, it's not like they didn't search. They used choppers, they had search teams out there, they had bloodhounds. Over.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things are great and useful tools, but again, the out in the woods is a completely different story. It is like another country, another world back there, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And searching through that terrain is very, very difficult. So doesn't surprise me that they didn't find anything that fast. Over.
Yeah, and I keep going back to why didn't they take the dog? And the only thing that I could think of, number one, it goes with the key in the ignition. They weren't planning to stay there very long, which is weird to me because why did they drive out in the first place if they weren't going to be there very long? The only other reason I wouldn't bring a dog is if I was concerned that they were bears, because dogs will attract the bears and they'll create a problem. I don't know if that's the reason they didn't take the dog, but if they were only intending to be there for a short period of time, it really begs the question, why did they drive about an hour away to go to this property to do something that was, okay, we're going to leave the dog in the car? There's no leash laws in the middle of the woods. What are you doing here? You know what I mean, over?
Yeah, again, I think that just points to the fact that they weren't planning on being out of the car for too long. They jumped out for something, and they just couldn't find their way back, or they couldn't get back, or somehow, some way, they strayed a little too far. And that's how it happens. Over.
Maybe, I don't know. Part of me, if they were going to meet somebody I'm just saying maybe somebody was blackmailing him. I got the 32,000. Okay, I'm meeting them really quick and I'll come back. Well, maybe, but then why would you bring your wife and your daughter and your dog over?
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me either. I don't prescribe to that. Over.
All right, so then why? So do you think the $32,000 under the driver's seat is just a red herring? Why are they driving around with 32 grand under the front seat? Over.
I don't know. Maybe like you said, it could have been a down payment for the house, or maybe they were just planning on relocating every part of their lives out to that new property. Maybe they were planning on taking possession of it and moving everything over there. I don't know what their motivation was. Their motivation could have been nefarious. Maybe they were planning on going to squat there. I don't know. Maybe they were just taking everything out that way and along the way decided to stop for some reason. Over.
No, we know that that's not the case because first off, they didn't pack anything. They packed nothing.
Weren't they packing? Wasn't that the whole thing with the video footage of the day before? They were packing the car?
Not with supplies or anything like that. They just for stuff for like to go out to. And also, how do you explain them leaving their IDs and their wallets, their phones, all of that inside their car? Over.
Well, what do you need any of that stuff in the middle of the woods for? Over.
That's a good point. I might leave my wallet and stuff in the car if I was going to meet someone I didn't trust. Over.
Or if you were going to take a leak. Over.
No, I would take my wallet then because I wouldn't trust whoever's in the car with me. They might steal it. Over.
It's your family, and you're in the middle of the woods. Where are they going? Over.
It's always the people you trust the most. I don't want to have to sit through the DMV and go through that to get another license.
That's very valid.
No, but I'm just trying to think. That's a good point. They may have left it there because they're going hiking in the woods. I don't know, but then it begs the question. This guy's got chronic back issues. You're going to tell me that he's going on a hike on rough terrain with no trails or anything like that. He leaves we're going to do that, and we're going to leave the key in the ignition. That's fine. And here's the other thing. Leave the key in the ignition. I'd be concerned that it's going to end up, draining the battery or something like that. All right, let's say he just wasn't worried because it's a friendly area, a friendly meth area where people don't really steal cars, apparently. They'll kill you if you come up on them, but they're not going to steal your car. I don't know. I just have a problem. Why would they leave so the other option is, were they compelled to go there? I don't know. Did the wife have a breakdown and say, listen, you're coming with me. Everybody get in the car. You too, 6-year-old girl. We're gonna go and we're gonna go up there and then I'm gonna march you guys out. And then but there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of any struggle whatsoever. So I can't even think. What is your theory on this? Over.
My theory, the only working theory I can have with the complete lack of evidence is that the wilderness just got them. They went out there, whatever reason they paused for on the drive, what they pulled over for, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to go for a hike. Maybe they wanted to see some sights, or maybe they had to go out to relieve themselves and they just were inexperienced enough in the woods where they got turned around, couldn't find their way back. I mean, there's stories of people who get turned around in the woods and they're 100 feet away from where they were. They just don't. That's how crazy it is out in the wilderness if you don't know what you're doing. So being that far away, maybe they strayed a little too far. Like somebody said in the chat, maybe they ingested something they weren't supposed to, but mushrooms, berries, I don't know. And it just got them. And they were out there for too long. That's the only theory I can go on with the evidence I got, because there's no signs of anything else whatsoever. Over.
I don't know. They're not living the privileged Long Island life that you have. They're living out in the woods. These aren't some New Yorkers in their hoity-toity mansions. You know what I'm talking about? These are people that are used to living in this area, and they have been to this property. It's not like they just picked you up and dumped you in the middle of Oklahoma wilderness meth country. These people they live in the area. They know the area. They were purchasing property, scouting the area around. So they've been there before. These are not noobs is what I'm getting at. They are pros. Over.
Yeah, that's true. But I still think it takes an expert level of person to go out there and survive. And I don't think even people that live in these areas have that level of expertise unless you go out and do it. I really, truly, like, it's almost like, I'll be honest with you, it's almost like a fear of mine, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think people really understand when you get a little bit out into that, into that brush, if you don't know what you're doing, you're as good as dead. I mean, it will eat you alive. So I don't think just living there qualifies them to do anything. Over.
Well, I'm not suggesting that just by virtue of the fact that they're living there. We know, I'm stressing that they've been to that property before. Not only been to the area, they've been to the property. So it's not like they haven't ever showed up there before. And they obviously had an interest in it because they had serious plans to move. That's why they had that shipping container. They were going to take the shipping container and they were going to bring it onto the property. Over an hour away, they were going to transport that shipping container and they were going to live in the shipping container. I don't know whether they were going to go to the bathroom. Over.
And they were also, somebody requested that the guy in the hat turns his microphone down a bit. They also were under extreme emotional, they were going through emotional and mental, like significant events at this time too. So to add that to the fact that maybe they didn't have as much experience going out there, I think all paints a pretty deadly picture of what could possibly happen. Over. Damn it.
Yeah, I could see that. Is that better? Guy in the hat turned his mic down. Guy in the hat's all good now.
I think we've pretty much exhausted the different theories that we could have on this. I mean, there's just nothing else to go on. Over.
Some people suggest that it was a cult. There, in fact, are, in that very area, there are several, pardon me, there are several like occult groups, satanic groups that are actually operating. Police investigated it. They didn't find any connections. Were they going to meet drug people? So essentially, the police's position is they just went out there, they got disoriented, and then they died from exposure, 2.7 miles in a straight line from the truck. It's not like they were literally a direct straight line, 2.7 miles from the truck. Over.
Yeah, I mean, you can draw a straight line to anything in the middle of the woods. Doesn't, Over? What do you mean?
Meaning that there really wasn't that much between them and the vehicle other than just a bunch of trees. And they're 2.7. Also, here's another question. A guy with chronic back pain, why is he traveling 2.7 miles into the woods? Unless, you know what I mean, Over?
Yeah, I think your focus on that number though is a little bit misguided in the idea that you don't know how far they were from the vehicle before they realized that they were lost or before they got to. So that could have just been wandering for them to say, "Oh, let's try and find our way back," and then they ended up the 3 miles away. They could have been less than a mile away. They could have been hundreds of feet away without knowing which way to travel. And they could have been traveling in the wrong direction for an hour before they realized, holy shit, we went the wrong way. And they never would know because you can't, once you go far enough, you can't know which way is to turn back around. Over.
Yeah, I guess we have to go with that because there's no other explanation. The police, they are investigating it and they clearly know stuff, right? They know stuff. This is what they found in the car. Do you see that?
I do.
I find that's interesting. I just want to see something. Oh, I can't get it anymore. What is this here? I would have liked to have known what this here says. It almost looks like, let me just see what this is.
Looks like a date book or something. Let me see. I can zoom in a little bit.
It looks like it's in direction,
It
coordinates.
does. It says southeast. Maybe it was directions out to the new property.
That's interesting. Over.
Those look like, I don't know, call me crazy. Those look like over here to the right. I can see your mouse. Go to the right. My right. I don't know if we have this. Yeah, right over here. That cluster. Nope. Up. Across the page from where the directional markings look like. Those look like some kind of coordinate type things. It looks like degrees and minutes to me, but it's hard to make out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It does look like degrees and minutes. They look like coordinates. I wonder if they were I don't know. Maybe it makes me think of drugs again, but that's, it's only because we're looking at the totality of events. It's a known drug area.
Maybe they were looking for a drop and they got lost.
there's just so much here. But once again, the police said but we don't know because it's still an active case. Could
Just
they
because
say
they
that?
weren't using drugs doesn't mean that they weren't involved in a drug trade. They could have been looking for a drop to pick up a drop and got lost. It still could be ending up they got lost in the woods and died. They could have been looking for something out there. Over.
Yeah, they could have. That would explain. But you take your wife and your 6-year-old daughter to go to a drop that's an hour away from home. Is that what you do? And then you go and take a picture of your daughter up on the hill. Hey, this was such a nice trip. Remember when we picked up 16 kilos of cocaine? Yeah, that was great.
If they're using the cover that they were going to see their new property, maybe that's their alibi. Over.
Maybe, but the police said, once again, they investigated, then they ruled out drugs as having anything to do with this in any capacity.
Yeah. So here's where we are.
So we're dealing with a guy with chronic back pain that could barely walk, decides that he wants to take his family on a hike, but not just on any hike, a hike that's really, really tough out into the woods. And then he, in a place that they've been before as well. And then he somehow, I don't know, dies from exposure because they get lost. That's it, right? Over?
I mean, I think that's as plausible a theory as any. Over.
I guess that's what the answer is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just curious. We're coming to the end of this. This episode was very difficult, and for those that are just joining us, which is probably just nobody.
But we got through it.
We had some problems because of the audio. Over. Actually, no, I'm not done talking yet. So I'm just curious. So thank you for bearing with us. I appreciate this. I know it's awkward. We'll get the kinks worked out for next week, and we'll have post-production clean up this video so it's actually somewhat passable. But I guess the answer, the only conclusion we can come up with is, I guess, what the police are suggesting, which is that this guy who's been here many times before, takes them out. They all go out for a hike for whatever reason. They get lost. They die from exposure. Everything else is a red herring. The fact that she was hospitalized for psychiatric reasoning just days before this disappearance has nothing to do with it. The fact that she's out, incredibly distraught over the death of her sister has nothing to do with it. The fact that they had to put a restraining order against Grandpa has nothing to do with it. The fact that she wrote in her diary that she's scared for their well-being because of their grandfather has nothing to do with it. It's just coincidence is what the answer is. Over.
I mean, I don't believe that any of that is just coincidence, but over.
Then what are you suggesting? So you're suggesting that has something to do with them going, they either went and got lost and died from exposure, or or something else. So which one do you think it is? Over?
I don't think there's enough evidence to be able to make that determination, but I don't think those things can be mutually exclusive of each other, is what I'm trying to say. All of those things could have been factors in what led them to go out there. I think ultimately, because of the fact that we have no evidence of any other type of cause of death, that they probably did end up just dying out there for whatever reason, being that they got lost in the woods. But I think what am I looking for here? I guess the motivation or the cause of them going out there could be any one of those things, to be honest with you. Whether it was drug-related business that they were conducting, whether it was running from the father who they were afraid of. I think any one of those things could have been the cause of them going out there for sure, but I don't think it ultimately ended up in their death. Over.
Before we wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give Jimmy an opportunity to have the last word on this. And then I want everybody to say what they think happened here in the chat. But Jimmy, is this your final thought on it? Do you really think that they went out there and let's assume that they did die from exposure? Do you think they went out there, bumped into some meth heads, or whether was some kind of drug deal involved? Do you think there's any other things involved that these other ingredients or clues are keying us into? Or are they red herrings? Over?
No, I think there's too many different outside factors here present for none of them to be involved at all. That just doesn't happen. There's a saying, not a saying, but in law enforcement, we always say like coincidences don't exist, right? I don't think any of those things are present and not present in their lives and not present in this case. But I don't think any of those things ultimately caused their death because whether it be related to drugs or family disputes or any of the nature that's involved here, mental health stuff, none of those things, when they cause a death or cause violence, uh, end with as clean a death or as clean a scene as this is. There would be blunt force trauma. There would be, bullet wounds, bullet markings, bullet whatever you want, bullet fragments. You know, clear trauma to the bones and clear causes of death. That's what you have when you have. What did they run into? The sneakiest drug dealers in the world in the woods, the 007 of drug dealers that knows how to kill a person, four people, and without leaving a trace of themselves, or three people. It just doesn't happen like that. So I believe those factors exist in this case, but where they play into the case is what I'm questioning. So ultimately, I do believe that any of those things could have caused them to be out in the woods that day or be out on this journey that they were going on. But I believe they probably got turned around in the woods and just couldn't find their way back. Over.
Yeah. This is probably our worst episode because we can't help laugh through this tragic case because of the terrible situation with our mic that we're going through right now. Okay, I'm willing to swallow that. I don't really like it, but I guess
Neither
we
do I.
really have no other, you know, cult. Oh, okay, they're thinking that it's cult stuff. I will tell you that I know you're just joining Boulder of Giants. They did check into it. There are cults in the area, which is interesting because it's not only the meth corridor of Oklahoma, it also happens to be the cult corridor. Huh?
No, there's not a lot to do out there.
I didn't say over.
Over.
Yeah, but they so they're that's another thing. They're moving to an area where there's a lot of they haven't moved outside of the meth area. Maybe they can't afford to. That's why they're buying vacant land. They want to start fresh. They want to live off the grid. So it's possible that they went out onto this and they ran into somebody there, some crazy loon, and may have been a cult person, right? It could have been a cult person, maybe I don't know. What do you think? I think they're right, what they're saying right now. Over.
Yeah, I think it's totally plausible. I'm a guy that needs to see some evidence. It's how I conduct my cases. That's what moves the needle for me. I got to see something. We could speculate about thousands of different things here, but we need to start seeing some hard evidence of it. Over.
So what would you do, right? What would be your next move in this case? You're investigating this case.
Well, again, without having any access to their investigative files, I don't know what they've done already. I would certainly go down and have a conversation with the grandfather, the restraining order, all of that stuff. Um, I would tear apart their personal lives. I'd find some evidence of drug issues, I'm sure, and go from there. But I don't know, man. I don't know how you get to the bottom of this case. I'd want to see that metadata for sure. The cell phones, I think, can probably tell a huge story. Um, that's tough. It's a real tough one. You work with what you have. And what we have in this case is a restraining order. We have metadata and not too much else. Financials, that's all the stuff I would be looking into until I found something out of the ordinary. Over.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight because, frankly, I'm getting tired of saying over. We had some problems with our mics. No disrespect to the Jamisons. We put a lot of research into this. We're very interested. We would love to have had this episode go off perfectly. But you know what? Actually, this is interesting. Gives everybody a glimpse into what happens when things go wrong and when our mics don't work, right? Because the mic clearly didn't work. And you know what?
Mike's working fine. It's just a feedback loop on your end, clearly. Over.
Well, you know what they say, it ain't over until it's over.
Well,
Anyway, so everybody, thanks for joining us. We will see you next week, Sunday at 7. And I'm going to make sure that we do not have this problem again. I'm going to make very, very sure that this is not a problem again, because this has been very, 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 very difficult. And this should be really enjoyable to see the video that they put together, because we tried to do justice to the Jamisons, but it was difficult. We did the best they could. I really hope my heart goes out to them. If anybody has any information whatsoever, call your local police, or you could email us at ash@americastrangesthistory.com. Anyway, thanks for joining us. See you next week at 7, everybody.
Bye, guys.